Hello everyone. So today I'm going to discuss about condition and replacement path variable, and I'm also going to do a demo by running Bex queries displaying condition and replacement path variable. So this is the part 4 of the series of videos on Bex queries. So in part 1 I actually discussed about the difference between selection and restricted key figure, the difference between formula and calculated key figure, and I also explained the info cube on which I'm running the Bex queries. In part 2 I actually did some demo by running some Bex queries displaying selection, formula, restricted key figure and calculated key figure. In part 3 I ran some Bex queries displaying OLAP variables and exception reports, and in this part I am going to run Bex queries displaying condition and replacement path variable. So let me introduce myself. My name is Somnath Ray. I'm a SAP certified application associate in SAP HANA. I also have a CPA and a diploma in IFRS. Now let us go into the system, into the query designer, and let us go into the query straight away. Actually, to save time on the video, I actually created the query. So it's Bex Query REPL1, which has the condition. So this is the condition query which I'm going to do the demo for. So let's go into condition, and it's very easy to create a condition. Like, you have to click on condition and hit new condition, and then the condition number generated is generated, and then you have to hit new, and then you have to choose the key figure. In this case it's acquisition value for transaction, and then we have to choose the operator and then key in the number. So that's pretty easy. So let us delete this. So let's look at the condition which I built. So I'm actually pulling in the three largest numbers for acquisition value for transaction. So the operator over here is shown as bottom n because all the numbers are having minus signs because they are acquisition values for transactions. So that is the reason I had to choose bottom n as the operator. So that will pull up the top three dollar amounts. So let's hit OK, and let's run this query first. So let's go into the query designer and run this query. So Bex analyzer, open query. So our query is BEX query, Bex query REPL1. So this is the query then. So it shows the top three numbers for the three transactions over here. Now let's go back into the PowerPoint slides. So the next query which I'm going to create is replacement path variable. Now this is a very powerful query in the Bex analyzer. So what it does is it actually automates the entire process, so the user does not need to manually enter the value for this query. It pulls the data um, from another query and uses that data as an input for the variable for this particular query. And so this is how the process operates. So once the query is run, it passes on the information to query 2, from where it gets the data and then it builds up the report. So the input for this query comes from another query. So this is a very powerful process, and it saves a lot of time in the manual entry of data into a query. So it's a very powerful thing within the Bex query designer. So let's go into the system and let me pull up the query so that I can explain to you. So that's Bex Query REPL2. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to run this query, Bex Query REPL2, which is the replacement path query, by using the data which has been generated and which we saw just now from Bex Query REPL1. So I'll use that report, like the data which was generated from the earlier query, to build the report for this one. So this is a very interesting query. So let's go into the system, and I'll show you how I created this query. So let's click on the restriction, the characteristic restriction. Let's hit restrict, and let's choose variables over here. So this is the restricted path variable, and let's hit the edit button so that we can see. So the first thing which I had to do is name the query. So give the query a name, and and it's a replacement path, as we see over here. And then I had to hit the replacement path tab, and so I had to choose from the drop down button the query, and then I had to choose the query, the exact query which is going to feed the data into this query. So let's hit this button. So I had to choose Bex Query REPL1. So let's choose that now, and hit OK. And then I had to uh, transfer this over onto the right hand side, and let's hit OK again. So let's save it. So, and this is how the report will look like. So it's a very simple report. So just to explain to you how to build up this replacement path uh, processing type variable query, which is a very powerful query within the Bex analyzer. So let's run this query now. So let's choose our query. It is Bex Query REPL2, and the query ran successfully. So basically what I did was I used the data generated from the previous query to build this report from this replacement path variable processing query over here. And like we can uh, pull in some dimensions over here. So let's say in the dimensions, let's pull company over here, and let's pull the company dimension in the row, and maybe depreciation area, actually not the depreciation area. Yeah, so that's all. Let us run this report again. So this is how the report will look like. So that's Bex Query REPL2. Yeah, so the query has been generated. So we see the data over here. So that's all about it in part 4 then. So in part 4 I covered the condition, how to create the Bex query displaying condition, and how to create the replacement path variable query. So thank you very much for watching this video, and see you soon in the next part of the video series on Bex queries. Thank you very much.